So today's workout is going to be a body weight session. So you're not going to need any equipment other than the exercise ball at the end to do some stretches and mobility work. Um, Everything is going to be nice and controlled. We're going to look at some pelvic floor engagement throughout all the way. Take things nice and steady. If something feels too much, by all means regress. And I'll give you some different variations in case something is not quite suitable for you, or if you find something that is a little bit too challenging. So just starting on the floor on the mat, we're going to come into a hip flexor stretch. So leg out in front. I want you just to lean forward into that front leg for me. Make sure that the knee is over the top of the heel and it's not, the foot isn't too far back. You don't want this. You want to make sure it's stacked nice and steady, one on top of the other. And just hold that top position for me. You should feel this right up into the top, into the hip flexor. Hold that there. And while we're doing these stretches, just to get ourselves warmed up, just taking some nice deep breaths, so get plenty of oxygen straight through into the body. Just hold that position there for me. Lovely. Next, we're going to bring the hands down onto the inside of the foot. If that's too much, just stay in that upright position for me. If not, bring it down. You'll feel that stretch just gets that little bit deeper into the hip flexor. And just hold that position there. And now we're going to take the arm that's closest to your leg and we're going to lift it up towards the sky. Make sure as you do that this knee doesn't come too far out. Keep it pressed in close to the body. And again, if this is too much, just go as far as you can through that rotation. Don't worry about going all the way up. And just hold that position there for me. So you're getting some nice rotation through the spine whilst we stretch out the hip flexor. Just hold that there for another couple of seconds. Lovely. Bring that arm down for me. Now go back into that starting position, staying with the hands down the inside. Again, like I say, if this is too much, don't be afraid to come up into that top position instead. Lovely. Now we're going to switch sides. So bring this foot back, switch around, and we're going to start in that upright position again. And again, now you're going to feel it into the opposite hip flexor. You're going to feel a pull of a stretch down the inside of the leg here. And just start in that top position for me again. Take some nice deep breaths, really concentrate on the breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Lovely, and if this feels good for you, bring the hands down onto the inside of the foot for me. Again, we're just making that stretch a little bit deeper on this side. Just hold that there. Lovely, now lift that arm up towards the sky for me. And again, watch that knee coming too far out as you rotate round. You're just getting some mobility through the spine here before we start. Another couple of seconds here. And let's bring that arm down. So we're going to stay down on the mat for a couple of seconds. Lovely, so I'm going to get you to come back up into centre. We're going to stretch the calf out now. So coming into that high plank top position, you just extend the leg back behind you and press the heel in towards the floor. I want you just to hold into that stretch, try not to bounce in and out of it. And if it's not enough, bring it a little bit closer so you can feel that stretch that a little bit deeper. And just hold that there for me. And let's switch sides. Lovely, bringing that foot in, you're going to come into a tabletop position. We're going to do cat and cow now, so we're going to mobilise even more through the spine. So we're going to start by just tilting the pelvis forwards and back, just till we find that nice neutral position. And from there, we're going to arch up towards the sky, bring the chin to the chest, tuck the tailbone under, come nice and high into that position for me. Really arch the spine up towards the sky. And then we're going to relax down, lift the head and neck up, drop that belly button down towards the mat for me. Lovely, now let's lift up. Again, go as high as you can through the vertebrae. Just hold in that top position for me. And relax down, belly button comes down towards the mat. Let's do one more here, so lift up. And relax down for me. Really lovely exercise for tight backs, tight shoulders. So from there, we're going to come into a tabletop position. We're going to do Superman, so opposite arm, opposite leg. So you want to come into a nice stacked position. Make sure that your wrists, elbows and shoulders are all stacked on top of each other, and make sure that your knees are underneath your hips. So back into that tabletop position, and we're going to reach out opposite arm, opposite leg. At the same time, make sure you're drawing your belly button in towards your spine, so you're creating a nice bit of control around the lower back. So we are going to reach out, opposite arm, opposite leg, and just hold in that top position, squeeze the glute on the leg that you're lifting, and then come back to centre for me. And again, make sure as you pop the hand back down, it's stacked right underneath the shoulder. I'm going to reach out, squeeze the glute on that side, and come back to centre for me. Let's go opposite side, reach out as far as you can, squeeze the glute. Remember, your leg doesn't have to go up towards the sky. We're just reaching opposite, away from the body. Try and stay as controlled as you can through your middle. And back to centre for me. Let's do one more each side. Reach. Good, squeeze that glute. Hold. Come back to centre. And switch again. And all the way through when you're doing these Superman exercises, you want to make sure your pelvis is staying focused down towards the floor rather than letting the hip tilt up on either side. Good, so come back to centre for me. So now, I'm going to get to sit back onto your heels, extend the arms out in front of you, and just relax the head down to the mat for me. Come into child's pose, just take some nice deep breaths here. Just relaxing down that central nervous system, letting go of anything that happened today that stressed you out. Take some nice deep breaths. Lovely, now just walk the hands back in towards you, so you come up into an upright seated position. So now we've warmed the body up a little bit, we're going to do some glute activation work. So I'm going to get to swing around onto the mat. We're going to start with glute bridges first. So coming lying back onto the mat, making sure that your heels are underneath the knees, and you're going to press up from the hips, squeeze your glutes at the top and make sure that your knees stay pressed out all the way through. So we are going to lift up, 3, 2, 1, press up as high as you can, squeeze those glutes, keep them in nice and tight, keep the knees pressed out, and then we're going to relax down one vertebrae at a time, so really lower the hips, just rock back and forth on the pelvis just so you can find that nice and neutral position, and then we're going to lift up again. So let's go again, lift, squeeze your glutes, hold in that top position. Lovely, now rolling down one vertebrae at a time, and we're going to rock back and forth on the pelvis. Lovely, let's lift up again, squeeze at the top, really tight through those glutes all the way through, and relax down one vertebrae at a time. Let's rock back and forth. Lovely, now we're going to lift up again, squeeze and hold, coming down one vertebrae at a time, and let's rock back and forth. Lovely. From there, we're going to roll onto the sides and we're going to do clams. So, knees and feet are going to be stacked over the top of each other, and you're going to bend those feet in towards your bum. Arm extended out, and you're going to rest your head onto the bicep there for me. Make sure that your hips all the way through stay pointing forward so they don't roll back. So you're just going to lift that knee up as far as it can go and relax down, but all the time making sure that this doesn't move. So maybe pop a hand just on your hip there so you can feel whether it's rocking back or not. And don't worry if you're really restricted through the movement here. you might have quite a lot of tightness to work against, so try not to force it too much. Just want you to lift up, squeeze and hold. You'll be able to feel this into your glutes around the outsides of your legs here. Just squeeze. These ones really burn. We're going to do 2 more on this side, and then we're going to switch it round. So really subtle movement, but a great one for glute activation. So let's switch sides. Same starting position, so knees and toes stacked over each other. Arm extended out, head resting on the bicep, and we're going to lift and hold. So remember, keep that hip facing forward, try not to let it rock back. Nice and simple lift here, but really good glute burner. Just a few more left on this side. And one more for me. Lovely stuff. So from there, we're going to do a hamstring exercise. So I'm going to get you to come back over to being on your bum. We're going to do hamstring walkouts. So these are a nice simple exercise, but they're really good at stimulating and working the backs of the legs. So come back as if you're into a bridge position. Again, knees stacked underneath your heels, but you're going to come up onto the heel of the foot rather than the foot being flat. You're going to lift the hips up off the floor, and you're going to walk the heels away from your bum, and then you're going to walk them back in. So join in with me, lift up onto the heels, lift your hips up high, and we're going to walk out 1, 2, 3, 4, and then walk them back in 1, 2, 3, 4. And you should really feel this working the backs of the hamstrings here. You should really feel that muscle engaging and switching on. So let's go again, up onto the heel of the foot. We're going to lift up, walk the feet 1, 2, 3, 4, and walk them in 1, 2, 3, 4. Good, let's relax down. So these really burn and work the hamstrings. They're a fantastic exercise for the hamstrings. So we're going to lift up again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Walk them back in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Relax the hips down. We're going to do one more of these. So same again. Lift up. Try and keep the hips up all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely. Relax the hips down. Whew, they burn. So next we're going to do a core exercise. So make sure that you feel that you're in a position with your core recovery that these are okay for you to do. If you feel like you're creating far too much tension through your abs, I'd suggest that you leave these. So lying on your back, arms up towards the sky for me, just pointing straight up. Knees are going to come up, and we're going to do heel taps. So we are going to tap down and bring it in, tap down and bring it in. So you do one at a time. Make sure your knees are stacked over your hips in this position with those arms up towards the sky. And you want to make sure that you're drawing your belly button down towards the mat, so down towards the spine, so that you can really feel that you're creating a bit of tightness into the mat and that you're not feeling that you're raising up all the way through. If you are raising up, just stop and come back and relax. Just make sure that you're nice and flat to the mat. So we're going to start with the right. Exhale as you tap down. Inhale as you bring it in. Lovely. So you should feel this work in the core. If you're feeling this in the lower back, try and pull the lower back further into the mat. So you start to feel it more into the abs. Let's go one more each side. Lovely, and just relax the feet down. So just to take any pressure or tension that might have come into the lower back whilst we did those, I want you just to hook the knees into the chest and just create little circles, just draw little circles onto the mat for me. We'll just do few one way. Just take a little bit of tension out, and then let's head round the other way. Just relax that lower back out a little bit. Lovely stuff. So we're going to start again from the beginning with those glute bridges. So remember, feet stacked underneath the knees, and we're driving the hips up, squeezing the glutes. So rock the pelvis back and forth just to find that neutral spot. And let's go 3, 2, 1, lift up, squeeze the glutes, keep your ribs relaxed down for me, hold at the top, and then relax down one vertebrae at a time. Lovely. Now rocking back and forth on that pelvis again so you find that nice neutral spot, and we're going to lift up. So 3, 2, 1, lift through the hips, squeeze your glutes. Remember, keep those knees pressed out all the way through. Lovely. Relax down one vertebrae at a time, rocking back and forwards on the pelvis. Lovely. And we're going to go again. So lift, squeeze at the top, hold for 3, 2, 1, and relax down. We're going to do one more here. So let's get ready. Lift and hold, squeeze tight through your glutes. 3, 2, 1, and relax down. Lovely stuff. So we're going to come into that clam position, so you need to come onto the side lying position. Knees and feet stacked over the top of each other, arm out so you can rest your bicep on your head on your bicep. Making sure that that hip stays nice and steady and doesn't rock back. We're going to lift that top knee up as far as it can go. If you're not feeling it enough, make sure you hunch your feet in a little bit closer. Lift and squeeze. So keep these nice and steady, a little hold at the top. Let's do one more on this side. Lovely stuff, and just relax down. So now we're going to switch it round. So same position, feet and knees stacked over the top of each other, arm out, resting the head on the bicep and keeping that hand on the hip so it doesn't rock back. Lift up and squeeze and hold. These are real burners. I always keep my hand here as a cue all the way through, because I think it's a really good way to stop me from letting the hips roll back, because especially as you start to fatigue through the glute, you have a tendency to rock the hips back. Let's do one more here. Really nice, well done. So we're going to do those hamstring walkouts again. The mean hamstring burners. So coming back onto the back, knees underneath your feet underneath your knees even, and we're going to lift up through the hips, and you're going to walk the feet away from you. So you're going to come onto the heels of the feet. So lift up with me, hips come off, and we're going to walk away for 4. So remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, and back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and trying to keep your hips up all the way through. So let's relax down, take all that tension out, rock back and forth in the pelvis. Then let's lift up, back onto the heels of the feet, keep these up all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 4, and back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and relax down. Lovely. So we're going to do 2 more of these. So lift up with me onto the heels, hips up high, keep them up all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 4, and walk them back in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Relax yourself down, rock that pelvis back and forth. We're going to go for one more. So up onto the heels, lift the hips, squeeze the glutes. Let's walk out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and walk back in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely. Let's just relax down in that position. So we're going to go back into the core exercise, the heel taps. So arms up towards the sky, knees bent, and remember these want to be over your hips. And we're going to tap down one heel at a time. You're going to use that exhale, the outward breath as you tap down. So inhale as you bring the knee back in. Remember, keep the knees stacked over the hips all the way through. Try not to let the lower back lift up off the mat. If you feel like it has, bring the feet down, bring yourself back into that position and go again. Last two. Lovely. So just relax the feet down, arms down by your side, and let's hook those knees in again. So bring them into the chest, and we'll just do small little circles with that lower back. Just take out any tension. Let's head round the other way. Lovely stuff. So we are going to do a third and final round of those exercises. We are going to start with the glute bridges. So same again, knees stacked underneath your feet, stacked underneath your knees. One of these days I'll get it right. And we're going to lift the hips up, squeeze the glutes to the top, leaving your shoulders on the mat. So 3, 2, 1, lift up, squeeze and hold in that top position. Remember, keep your ribs relaxed down, knees pressed out, and then we're going to relax down one vertebrae at a time, rocking back and forth onto that pelvis, and then we're going to lift up. So 3, 2, 1, lift, squeeze and hold at the top, 3, 2, 1, rolling down one vertebrae at a time, rock back and forth. Lovely. 3, 2, 1, lift, squeeze the glutes, hold for 3, 2, 1, roll the body down, rocking back and forth. Got 2 more of these. So 3, 2, 1, lift, squeeze the glutes nice and tight at the top. Good, roll the body down, rock back and forth. We're going to do 1 more of these. 3, 2, 1, lift, squeeze, keep the ribs down, keep those knees pressed out, hold for 3, 2, 1, good, relax down. Just rock that pelvis back and forth a couple of times for me. And then we're going to turn onto the side. We're going to go into those clams. So, knees and feet, arm out. Remember, hand on the hip all the way through to stop the hip from rolling back. And we're going to lift, squeeze, lovely. Two more on this side. Good stuff. Right, let's switch it round. So same again, arm out, hand on that hip, just go as far as you can through that lift. Really feel these in the glutes starting to burn. One more here. Lovely stuff. So we've got these hamstring walkouts next. So coming back into that flat position, starting with the feet underneath the knees again. We're going to press up through the heels. Try and keep your hips up all the way through. I'm going to walk out for 4. So Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Lift up onto the heels. Keep your hips up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Walk the feet back in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Then relax down. So let all that tension out. And then we're going to go again. So onto the heels. Lift up through the hips. Let's walk them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Walk them back in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Relax down onto the mat. Wobble that pelvis back and forth if it feels good. Right, let's go again. Heels, lift up, squeeze your glutes. Let's walk out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Walk them in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Relax down. We're just going to do one more of these. My hamstrings are on fire. So let's lift up on the heel of the foot. Squeeze your glutes. Let's walk them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try and keep the hips up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And relax down. Lovely. So we're going to do the heel taps, the core exercise next. So remember, arms up towards the sky. Come into that tabletop position. So knees are stacked over your hips, and we're going to tap down one at a time. Remember, you're using that exhale as you bring the heel down. So make sure the lower back's into the mat, all the way through. Nice and controlled with these. Two left. Lovely stuff. So relax down. Let's bring those knees into the chest again. We'll just do those little circles, just take all that tension out. Good, head round the other way. Perfect. So, next we're going to do some Supermen, some glute kickbacks. So I'm going to get you to come back into that tabletop position, that top kind of all four position. My hair's gone completely wayward now I've been laid down on the mat, but never mind. So knees underneath your hips, and make sure that your wrists, elbows and shoulders are all stacked on top of each other. I'm going to reach out opposite arm, opposite leg. So core in nice and tight, pull that belly button in towards your lower back, and we're going to exhale, extend that leg back, squeeze the glute, and then come back to centre for me. Exhale. Lovely stuff. Switch sides. Coming back. Lovely. So we're going to stay in that tabletop position. This time we're going to kick back and we're going to pulse. So you don't need to kick kind of up to the sky like this. We're just going to kick out and we're going to pulse. So try and make sure all the way through that your hips are still facing down towards the mat and you're not letting the hips rock too much or lift up too much. So same position in the top, stacked underneath your shoulders, lifting one leg back, and you're just going to kick up. So feel that pulse into the hamstring and the glute. Remember, keep your hips facing down towards the floor. You don't want to be twisting back to get into that position. 3, 2, 1, and bring it down. Now we're going to switch sides. So other leg goes back. Same again, hips facing down towards the floor. Just kick and pulse. 3, 2, 1. Lovely stuff. Let's just relax back into child's pose. Drop the hips back. Bring the head down to the mat. Just relax all that tension out. Lovely, come back into that top position. So I'm going to add in some pelvic floor engagement to the Superman exercise. So we're going to close and lift the pelvic floor on the exhale. So I'm going to get you to come up into that tabletop position. We are going to do inhale, exhale, close and lift the pelvic floor, and then extend that arm out, hold, keep breathing, don't hold the breath, but keep that pelvic floor engagement, and then come back to the middle and then let everything go. Relax the pelvic floor. So you want to make sure, if you can, whilst you're doing this, count for 4 seconds. Once you've done the close and lift, imagine you're bringing your coccyx in towards your pubic bone, you're closing that gap together to create that tension in your pelvic floor. As you've done that, you want to make sure that the breath isn't being held for that time, because you're creating unnecessary tension. So you want to make sure that you can, if you can, count to 4 whilst you do it. So let's do that again. Into that tabletop position. Inhale in first. Exhale. Close and lift. So pubic bone comes into your coccyx. And then you are going to lift up. And as you do, you're going to lift opposite arm, opposite leg out. And count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then bring it back in. Let all that tension go, relax the pelvic floor. Lovely stuff. So if you count that 4 out loud and verbalise it, it's a lot harder for you to hold the breath. So it does encourage you to breathe whilst you lift and engage the pelvic floor. So we want to be able to not only close and lift, but also do exercises and movements whilst we do that. So back into that tabletop position again. So inhale in, exhale, close and lift, and we're going to lift up. Reach the arm and leg out, count 1, 2, 3, 4, and as you come back to centre, just let it all go, completely relax the pelvic floor for me. Lovely stuff. So inhale, exhale, lift and close, and extend the arm and leg out, count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then bring it in, let everything go. Lovely stuff. So the more you do this, the more it's going to feel less like you've got a million things going on at once. So inhale in, exhale, close and lift the arm out, squeeze the glute, 1, 2, 3, 4, and let everything go, come back to the centre. We're going to do 1 more each side now. So inhale in, exhale, close and lift, reaching out, opposite arm, opposite leg, 1, 2, 3, 4, and relax, bring it back to centre. Last one now. So inhale in, exhale, close and lift, reaching out, 1, 2, 3, 4, and relax, come back to centre. Lovely. So hopefully you found that helpful to be able to hold the pelvic floor and engage the breath as you did that. So let's sit back into child's pose, arms out in front, and just relax the head and neck down for me onto the mat. Just hold that stretch there for me. Take some nice deep breaths. And then just walk the hands up towards you. So we're going to finish on a little stretch using the ball. So grab your ball for me. And we are going to start with that hip flexor stretch, but we're going to use the ball for support. So bring that leg out in front and just relax the forearms and put as much weight as you want through the ball. Make sure you've still got plenty of stretch through that leg, and just hold it in that top position. These stretches will hopefully feel like they've eased off a little bit now we've moved around. It won't feel quite as tight as they did in the warm-up. Lovely, let's switch sides. So other foot comes forward. Really lean into that hip flexor. to sit back onto the heels of the feet, arms onto the ball, just roll the ball in front of you, keeping the hands on all the way through, and just relax your head and neck between your shoulders for me. Just hold that position there. Now I'm going to get you to rock from side to side, so moving all the back, rolling the ball across the mat from one side to the other, and then come back to centre for me and just hold that position there. Lovely. Bring the ball back towards you, hold it on either side and just lift it up and overhead for me, and then bring it down. So inhale, exhale, bring it down. Inhale, exhale, bring it down. Let's go one more. Inhale, exhale, bring it down. Roll the ball away. We're going to stretch the calf out, so both forearms on the ball for me. Press that leg back behind you, just hold that stretch there. Lovely, let's switch sides. Again, just hold that stretch, try not to bounce in and out of the calf. Only use as much of that stretch as you can. And like I say, if you're not feeling it too much, just bring the foot in a little bit closer down towards you and then press the heel down. It should feel like a bit of a deeper stretch for you. Lovely, so I'm going to get you to come and sit back onto your heels again, and we're going to move the ball from left to right. So hands together in the middle and just move over to the left hand side for me, and just feel that stretch down the right hand side of your back into your shoulder. Just hold that position there for me. Good, bring the ball back to centre. Now relax the head and neck down. Just going to hold in that centre point for a second. Lovely, now roll over to the right hand side. Same again, you'll feel that stretch much deeper down the left hand side. And just hold that position there for me. Come back to centre. Just sit nice and deep into that stretch. If it's uncomfortable to have your knees too close, bring them out wider. And then you've got a little bit more space. Sit back in between the hips. And then just slowly roll the ball back in towards you. And just spend a couple of seconds just getting the breath back. Now's the time to focus on the day. Think about what you've achieved already and how important it is to make a bit of time for yourself. Take some nice deep breaths. Hopefully this sets you up for a really amazing rest of day, whatever you've got planned, or whether this is ending the day. I hope it's been a good one. And you can relax there. Well done. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you're feeling a little bit less tight and maybe a little bit more fluid and mobile for the rest of your day. Thank you.